Hi, well, welcome to another edition of Woodall's Outdoor Hospitality Update. I'm your host, Ben Woodall, with our co-host, Mike Gast, who doesn't have his fancy background that he normally has, but I think he's still in Hawaii.
I am.
Hello.
And then next to me is Paul Hamby, President and CEO of the National Association of RV Parks and Campgrounds. And we're actually at the Outdoor Hospitality Conference Expo in Raleigh, North Carolina, which has just been incredible so far. There's a lot of good energy, I guess. Well, I guess what's your feeling?
There's definitely a lot of energy. You know, when I think back on Raleigh of 2017, when we were last year, we had about half the register. So it's doubled in size. We're feeling some of that growth in strange ways, but it's all good. And the buzz is definitely back.
Yeah, definitely. I think all the campground owners that I've spoken with have just been excited to be back in person. And we had some technical difficulties here, so that's why we're sharing the screen, but I don't mind sharing. So, it's just great to be back at an in-person conference. I mean, it was a long 2020, and I look forward to being able to be here and talk with you in person and have these meetings. It's so important to me.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I've heard it every place I've gone for the few days I've already been here. We're going to be here through Thursday. Our board's been there. Yeah, you can just feel it. You almost have to be here to feel it, I think. The virtual conference that we did last year was successful in terms of numbers. You know, we got a lot of people tuning in. We didn't have this, and I'll be honest, this means hugging and shaking of hands, getting acquainted in a human way. People really miss that. So that's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah. And you opened the conference this morning with a great panel on electric vehicles.
Yeah, thanks. We had, it was a little bit of a different approach to the opening general session. We felt that this burgeoning technology, if you will, that is the electric vehicle wave that is coming at us, really needs to be in everybody's mind so that they can set up for infrastructure. And through our research, people told us they're really not ready because they don't really understand what's coming at them. So we tried to spell that out this morning. We had Joseph Delmacher, who's the Chief Innovation Officer at Thor. And Thor, if you don't know, has many brands. They represent 50% of the market share of the RVs. We had Steve Zhang, an old friend of mine who runs it's called Casa de Fruta out in Hollister, California. And Gene's been at it since he was a young boy, learning from his dad. Started as a worker and it's grown to we have a Chevron station on the property. We've got multiple Tesla charging stations, which is why I wanted to manage the panel. We've got a orchard with a Renaissance fair. It's amazing. They do in 300 sites. And then we have Darren Foley, who is new in the industry in terms of being exposed as somebody that campground industry would know. But here's what you need to know about Darren. A, he's been in the business 15 years, and he knows a lot of things about the infrastructure of campgrounds. And because Wade Elliott couldn't join us this year, Wade handpicked Darren to come. So he did a great job. And then Steve, he wanted an attorney on the panel, and he can't find anybody better than Christine because he's owned campgrounds, grew up in the campground industry. She knows a lot about campground. Not only that, she sang national anthems. She's an opera singer.
And that was, we just learned that last night when we were over here.
Yep.
And that was, we just learned personally. amazing. Right?
Oh yeah. You talk with her, and then just to hear her sing, it's incredible. So sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. We are kind of close to. There's a lot of people moving through. There's a lot of people here in general. So all of the sessions I've gone to today have been incredible. Just a lot of stuff on industry trends and things that we need to know about.
Well, yeah, I didn't take all the sessions. I did sit in on the president of the union, and really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to get to that point in a second, but I got to give kudos to this and his brother. They captivated. You know, they started back in 2005 in a campground called Campground, and it's down by Williamsburg. And just a few of them kind of took over where their father had left it. And he walked me through all the years where they were flat broke early on. He came back out of college to kind of take over the alien treatment. And he just expressed his experience in a real way. He loves this business. He just did a great job of explaining to us, especially all the new campground owners that are here, what they can expect, and gave them some really good rules for good business, how to succeed. And that point I just made about all the new campground owners that are here, it's amazing to see how many are here. We got a show of hands at our panel this morning. And it's amazing. It's maybe 100 hands something up out of the 800 that were in the room. And that was just a very early breakfast meeting that we had following last night's reception that all kinds of areas. That everybody enjoyed the liquor for sure. So I didn't expect that many people to be there. I'll catch up to you later, Tim.
Hey, Ben, I got a question for Paul. Are the attendees you're seeing this time, are they a little bit more corporate? Are there more investors there kicking tires about what it takes to be a campground owner?
Great question, Mike. You know, I can only go by the registration record that I've seen and name tag. The corporates are certainly represented, and that's good. But I would say that here so far, it's still the independent campground owner that rules the day. No question about it, actually. I'll be more attentive to teach myself what the percentages look like. But I think for many years, actually, this has been a place of learning for the independent campground owners. The corporates obviously have their own shows, AOAs, coming up in Louisiana. LSI is not here because, I won't say they're not here, but they're having their own event. And I've talked to Rob Shooter, he's on our foundation board, and he said there's about 500 going to their convention. So, yeah, you miss those LSI and KRA people that are going to their proprietary conventions. But there's still people here representing those companies, and that's great to see. But I would tell you overwhelmingly, it's still in the industry of the independent campgrounds. Regarding the investor segment, there's definitely more part of that. And there's new companies coming in that are Silicon Valley based. We have a panel tomorrow with the advanced reservation systems, mostly PMSs, but we have some newcomers in there that are internet-based companies, OTAs, online travel agents. So it's great to see those faces and those voices being heard. they have an interest in us. We have an interest in them. It's going to be good. I can't wait to see that.
What's been interesting is the explosion in the reservation and OTA companies. I mean, I think we just did something for Woodall's. We interviewed close to 20 companies for that article, and I mean, a lot of them are represented here. You're doing that reservation tomorrow. It's amazing how much demand there is for that, I guess.
Yeah, great point. I'll tell you, we've had it now 3 years in a row, and this year we put a different spin on it by there were so many more that wanted to take part in the panel, so we had to split it into 2 sections. And that was partially due because another spin we put on it was we wanted each company to bring an advocate that uses that company to speak, peer to peer, what the pluses and maybe some minuses are of each company. So you can call that a testimony, I guess, but we're hoping we get truth and honesty and credibility out of it. It should be entertaining.
And you guys announced today that during the lunch that there's a new association that's joined.
Yes. We are putting up for board approval on Thursday. The state of Georgia coming in as a partner state, and this is exciting because in my tenure at ARVC since 2010, there have not been any incoming states joining our association. So we hope it's the beginning of really good things. We're talking to many other states about the possibility of coming in. We just changed our requirements for entering, or requirements for unifying our industry. And that big change was that we used to have a 50% requirement of any state and their members joining as dual members to ARVC, and we've taken that away. So there are lots of states out there that are either currently represented by an association or maybe not, that ought to follow Georgia's lead and do the same thing, form an association. It's relatively easy. And then come on into the family. That's why we make it.
Yeah. I guess, you guys are also going to be talking about a generational report tomorrow, and I know you don't want to give away any details on that, but I guess just kind of give us, if you can, insight into what this report's going to do for the industry.
Wow, I should let David talk to it. I've read it numerous times. You're right. I don't want to thunder go out in advance. I think, I'll relate it to the electric vehicle information that I was sharing this morning. It's phenomenal to me. One of the statistics was that from the survey, we learned that 15% of campground respondents, campers, consumers, not campgrounds, 15% of them already own an EV, 33% plan to purchase one within the next year. And the stat that really stood out to me was 79% of them said that once they have an EV, they would expect their destination campground to have the ability to charge the unit. So that speaks volumes to me. If I'm a campground owner and I had 4 out of 5 electric vehicle owners getting ready to come my way, I wouldn't want to be ready for it. And there's a whole bunch of other great statistics coming out of that study. But like I said, I'll leave that to David. He was the real champion that put that study together. I don't think there's another one like it in our industry. KOA obviously does some great research, and we share with them on numerous things, but when you define it as a generation study, it's going to be different.
And then Mike and I have obviously talked plenty about EVs on the show, and we actually had Gene on, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, you know, it's just incredible what's going on in that industry.
Well, it is. Gosh, you know, one of the things we shared this morning was we looked at the fact that 85% of the RVs manufactured this year, and there's 575,000 that are coming off the assembly line, either already off or projected to come off before year end. 575,000, 85% of them are towables. And you just ask yourself, okay, what's going to be the kind of vehicle that throws those towables into the campground? It's the trucks, it's the SUVs, it's even the Tesla cars that have hitches that can do it. And so when you look at what's ahead of us here, and again, this is information we shared that will be on arvic.org, by the way, if you missed the convention. We have vehicles like the Ford Lightning pickup, an F-150 pickup that is full battery charge, and it's really cool because it can actually reverse charge and charge your home. Never saw anything like it before, and that one is really on the precipice of coming out and being available to consumers within the next month or two. Already Ford has doubled its advance order for that particular vehicle. And then you have other companies. You have a company called Solbian that is manufacturing an RV right here in Brevard, North Carolina. And that's going to be a special kind of vehicle, not a towable type vehicle, but it'll be self-contained and battery charged. Every major car and truck manufacturer plans to come out with something. General Motors has their line.
I think you mentioned too that isn't General Motors saying they're going to get rid of gas-powered production?
Yes.
Like
2035. Their entire production line is going to be gone. In terms of fossil fuel, it'll all be electric or biofuel. It's a wave. And as Gene Zanger shared some of his thoughts, it's really it's following a pattern that we Americans and Canadians have seen for the past couple of decades. Two examples he gave were mobile phones. And back in the mid-90s, and I was one of these people, you probably were too, you looked at what was available, cell phone, and you said, I don't think I'll own one of those in 10 years. And now, where can you go and who can you talk to that doesn't have a smartphone? And then in the campground experience, he shared the Wi-Fi amenity as one that, I just had something that wasn't my ears. I wasn't able to share it. Anyway, the Wi-Fi experience, as we all know, is just become more and more prolific. And I think electric vehicles are going to be right in the step.
Mike, you're pretty quiet today.
Well, I know that technically we got a few issues going back and forth here, but is there? Speaking of the electric vehicles, and I don't think we talked about this, but is that infrastructure need? You know, where is the campground owner really going to go to find out what they need to do to get ready for that new pedestal that's going to have a charging station on it and be ready to go?
Yeah, that actually was a question that was asked, and Gene answered it like a true campground pro. He really didn't give one answer. He said, the answer will depend so much on the kind of campground you own, how close are you to a major market where you might have more experience with electric vehicles coming at you versus one that's out in the rural area. But infrastructurally, the advice was to go slow. And that might sound contradictory to what I just said about the big wave that's coming, but it's going to have to be a learn as you go situation. His advice was start with a small number of what are called level 2 chargers. They come in different flavors. So level 2 takes several hours to charge, and that's not such a bad thing because what are people going to do? They're going to probably spend money on the campground property. But for those that really want a faster charge, within 20 to 30 minutes, there is a level 3 that is more expensive. And both Darren Foley and Gene gave the same advice. You can get a level 2 for about $600. The level 3s right now are a bit price prohibitive. You can get them, but their advice is don't go charging too hard into the future. Walk before you go. And there's going to be risk there too, because it's just like mobile phones have changed over time. The charging will change over time. For long, level 4 and level 5, you might feel like, oh my gosh, I got into this prematurely, but I don't think that is the way I'm thinking of it. I would probably be advised, start slowly, put some level 2 chargers in, gauge the response, see what the payback is, and gosh, it's like work models several years ago. You start small, and then before you know it, you say, these are money makers, I'll put more out there. I think that's the way it's going to go. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of campground owners in the last few months about this topic, and some of them I think are still in that stage of grieving. They're still in denial that it's going to happen. They don't quite think it's real yet. And what I'm hearing is that the real mistake is to not have a plan.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. There are carbon tax credits that the government allows today, and we're watching the infrastructure bill that the House just passed. I don't know if it'll make it to the Senate, but there are a lot of social grant programs and rebates that expected out of that legislation. And that may be a game changer for the cost benefit analysis that the campground owner needs to have in place. But it's not just about providing a service to the consuming public. You can make money on this. Gene referenced that. There are ways to recoup your own electricity cost on the campground and still make surplus revenue on top, and still make not to even mention the amenities that people will use if they're hanging around for 4 or 5 hours, whether it's a restaurant or a pool or an overnight stay. So I think it's financially speaking, I think it's got a great promise, and it'll only get better, especially with these tax credits that are on the horizon.
I think it could potentially be a really great way to show off your park too, because you've got these people that are potentially just coming to charge, and they have to wait a little while. You give them a pass to try out or you have your store there. Maybe they can look at the campground and realize, wow, I'd like to come back with an RV or a tent or something.
Yeah, it's another step in the right direction technologically that makes the campground have the profile of a place I want to go to. It's got Wi-Fi, it's got technology like electric charging stations. It's not a sleepy, old-fashioned campground that many of us remember from 20, 30 years ago. You've got to stay in step with technology to really expect to keep your customers happy. But it doesn't mean you have to go at it hog wild all at once overnight. You can slowly walk toward the goal line, and that's really what the guys were saying today.
I know a big part of this conference is unity, and you work with so many different partners. I guess throughout COVID, those relationships have really benefited each other. I guess what does that look like moving forward? I guess RVA, AOA, some of the other state associations. I guess you can start. I guess.
Well, it's a word, and
Yeah.
people decipher that word in different ways. To us, it means that as an industry, we are working together for the members' benefit. And that's the goal of any partner we have. And with the state association executive directors are great examples of that. Their goal, obviously, is to help the member in where they can. And that's our goal too. Now, we approach it in different ways. We are able to have different mandates that are more national in scope. You can take examples like the park model port issue that we tackled back in 2014, or the GFCI, unnecessary GFCI equipment that some on the National Electric Board panel were trying to force on our industry. It would have cost our Campground members $400 for the fight. We fought that anyway. There was a ground rod not long ago that would have forced every pedestal to have two 8-foot copper ground rod put into the ground. And we estimated that would cost our industry somewhere close to $56 million based on all the electrical pedestals that we know are out there just in our member. And we fought that and beat that. So there's always something at the national level that requires advocacy. And if you can talk with a common voice in unity, you will make headway. If you're perceived politically or operationally or even to the media that you are fractured, you're not going to have the success that we really need. So, state executives help us so much in that area. They seem to get it very clearly that working together is better than working apart. You mentioned KOA. We have a great relationship with KOA. We have a great relationship with LSI. We formed a business forum. Actually, I didn't form it, but I revamped it several years ago, and we are able to bring in the C-level folks onto that business forum. Toby Awards, Rob Shooters, ELS is part of it, Sun is part of it. Every major corporate entity is part of it. Even Bob Martin, Thor's is on the panel. So that's a wonderful place to bring minds together. And we meet here at this conference and again in the spring months. And we just share what's important and projects that we can work on together. And through that process, you get unity. So it's something I think we all intuitively get, but it's good. It's good to be unified. And when you're not, it's a real pain point. It shows. And the people that notice it the most, I think, are politicians and the public. They sense that you're not unified, then, like I said a minute ago, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah. There's a lot of corporate entities coming in to the industry, investors with a lot of capital money they're building or buying. What's the future of the campground look like? Are you going to see more of this consolidation and more corporate run parts? Are you still going to have that mom and pop flair that everyone, that a lot of our viewers like? What's that?
Well, I don't think the mom and pop spirit will ever leave this industry. I hope it doesn't. These are the founders of our industry. The really good, smart ones stay ahead of the game, almost better than corporates. And I'm not putting corporates down, but corporates by their nature are more bureaucratic. A lot of times they're a little slower to move. Whereas an independent campground owner, they see a trend coming at them, they can react to it. And I think that's always going to be there. Now the corporates, they are going to be in the game, maybe in a growing way. They're going to be because they see the value of consolidation and the economy of scale. When they buy a campground and say Poughkeepsie, their goal is, the strategy is usually to buy others in the area so that they can centrally manage it. Give me the horizon recording saying, oh, it's almost done. I don't know what that means. But the point I was making is that, when they're waving huge cap rates in front of campgrounds that have deserved and earned that exit, they're going to be takers. There's no question they're takers. That's the evolution of our capital economy. You work hard, you build a business up to a point where you want to exit, you want to retire, you may not have a family to leave it to, and you're going to sell. And the corporates are there, thank God, to make the purchase. So I kind of like that we're all in this together. It's a unique thing, right? If the corporates are in it, the independent owners are in it, we're all striving for the same things, we all win.
Okay. Mike, do you have any more questions?
No, I think we probably ought to let Paul get back to the show.
Yeah, we gotta let Paul get back to the show. So, thanks, Paul, for coming on.
Yeah, it's been great. I
Thank
haven't
you, Paul.
realized in Mike Gass in a long time.
Well, nobody has. He ran off to an island.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that.
hiding.
I know that. He's on the big island. Are you still on the big island, Mike?
Absolutely. Let's just loving it up here.
You know the beauty of the islands as I do, and enjoy them. Wish I was out there with. But I also am glad I'm here because I'm enjoying this too. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks
Paul.
so much. And Mike, I think we're good to go. And I mean, we're having a little bit of a rough time hearing, so
Yeah.
and I think we've covered everything pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's been great.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna end the show, and we'll be at the Campgrounds of America conference next week. So, and Mike won't be there; he'll still be in Hawaii, but I'll be there. And
gonna be
thanks
weird.
everyone for watching. Yeah.